Before we delve into a moment that redefined television and touched millions of hearts, we invite you to be part of this ripple of humanity. If the story resonates with you, if it stirs something deep within, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep this vital conversation going. No one could have predicted the seismic impact of what was about to unfold on live television. It began as a seemingly routine interview, yet it would transcend the ordinary, etching itself into the collective memory as one of the most profound and unforgettable exchanges of the decade. At its heart were two figures: Ibrahim Traoré, the young, resolute president of Burkina Faso's transitional government, and Ava DuVernay, the acclaimed filmmaker and cultural icon. Their conversation, raw and unexpected, would leave the world in tears, forever altering perceptions and challenging the very definition of human suffering. It was a rainy Monday afternoon in Ouagadougou when the call came. Ibrahim, his brow still furrowed from a rigorous meeting with local leaders, was handed a satellite phone by his assistant. "Mr. President," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the drumming rain. "It's Ava DuVernay's team. They want you on her show." Ibrahim paused, the weight of the phone feeling heavier than usual. He knew of Ava's films, her unparalleled ability to unearth human truths with a compassionate yet unyielding lens. But he was not one for media spectacles, preferring the quiet, arduous work of governance to the glare of global spotlights. "Why me?" he asked, his voice a low rumble, betraying a flicker of curiosity beneath his usual stoicism. His assistant, sensing his hesitation, replied, "They say they've been following your leadership, Mr. President. They want to know the man behind the title." A long silence stretched between them, punctuated only by the relentless rain. Ibrahim's gaze drifted to the window, lost in thought. Finally, with a slow, deliberate nod, he said, "Tell them I'll come." No one, not Ava, not Ibrahim, not the millions who would soon tune in, could have foreseen that this single decision, made in a quiet, rain-soaked office, would set in motion a moment that would ripple across the globe, touching souls in ways unimaginable. By Wednesday evening, Ibrahim was in Los Angeles, the vibrant energy of the city a stark contrast to the familiar rhythms of Ouagadougou. He sat in the green room of Ava DuVernay's studio, the air thick with anticipation. Beyond the soundproof walls, the set buzzed, bathed in the warm, inviting glow of the studio lights, where a waiting audience murmured with excitement. Then Ava herself walked in backstage, her presence commanding, yet imbued with a disarming warmth, her smile radiating genuine welcome. "Mr. Traoré," she said, extending a hand, her voice a smooth melody, "I've been looking forward to meeting you." Ibrahim stood, his frame radiating a quiet strength, and met her handshake with a firm, steady grip. "And you," he replied, his eyes unwavering, reflecting a deep calm. Beneath the polite exchange, a subtle tension simmered, a silent acknowledgement of the powerful personalities and profound purposes converging. Ava was renowned for her incisive questions, her uncanny ability to peel back layers, to delve into the heart of a matter and reveal raw, often uncomfortable truths. Ibrahim, though outwardly calm, was no stranger to confronting the harshest of realities, having faced them daily in his nation. As they stepped onto the stage, the audience erupted in applause, a wave of warmth and expectation. They were blissfully unaware that the smiles they saw, the polite introductions, would soon give way to profound tears. Ava began gently, her questions soft, almost conversational. She inquired about Ibrahim's childhood in a small Burkina Faso village, his unexpected rise to power amidst turmoil, and his ambitious vision for Burkina Faso's future. Ibrahim answered with humility, his words deliberate, each sentence carefully weighed, his voice steady and resonant like a river carving its path through ancient lands. The audience leaned in, captivated by his quiet intensity, his understated power. Then Ava's tone shifted. The air in the studio seemed to thicken, charged with a new gravity. She leaned forward, her eyes, usually soft, now sharp, yet still compassionate. "Mr. Traoré," she began, her voice dropping slightly, "you speak so eloquently of hope, of change, but Burkina Faso remains one of the world's poorest nations. People are still suffering under your leadership. How do you reconcile that with the vision you paint? The question hung in the air, heavy and inescapable, like a storm cloud gathering on the horizon. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The studio grew heavy with silence, the anticipation almost unbearable. Ibrahim didn't flinch. He met Ava's gaze, his eyes unwavering, holding her stare. And then, in a voice so soft it seemed to carry the weight of the entire world, he spoke. "Poverty is not what you think it is, Miss DuVernay, and perhaps it's time someone told you the truth." The audience froze, a collective breath held. Ava's own breath caught, her usual poise faltering for a moment. For the first time in her storied career, she seemed unsure, her eyes searching his, a flicker of raw emotion crossing her face. The truth, long hidden, was about to be unveiled.
Ava's voice was steady, though softer now, a testament to the profound impact of Ibrahim's words. "Then tell me," she urged, her eyes still searching his, "if poverty isn't what we think, what is it?" Ibrahim leaned back in his chair, his hands folded calmly in his lap, and took a slow, deliberate breath. The studio remained hushed, every eye fixed on him, every ear straining to catch his next words. "Poverty," he began, his voice still soft, yet now imbued with an undeniable, piercing clarity, "is not just the absence of wealth. It's the absence of dignity. It's a mother who feels invisible as her children go hungry, not because she lacks food, but because the world looks through her as if she doesn't exist. It's a farmer who prays for rain that never comes, his spirit withering, not just from drought, but from the crushing weight of forgotten promises. It's a child who stops dreaming, not because their imagination has failed, but because no one ever told them their life matters, that their dreams are worthy of the sun." Ava's lips parted slightly, her breath held captive in her chest. Her eyes, glistening under the studio lights, mirrored the raw emotion that began to ripple through the silent audience. They were afraid to breathe, to break the spell of his words. Ibrahim continued, his gaze sweeping across the captivated faces, his voice calm but piercing, each word a chisel shaping their understanding. "What truly breaks people isn't empty pockets. It's the belief that the world has decided they are worth nothing. It's the silent, insidious violence of being unseen, unheard, unvalued." Ava blinked rapidly, as if trying to hold back an unexpected wave of emotion that threatened to overwhelm her carefully constructed composure. A single tear, then another, slipped down her cheek, catching the light like a fallen star. The silence stretched, heavy and unbroken, as the immense weight of his words settled over the room, pressing down on every heart. The camera zoomed in, capturing the raw vulnerability etched onto her face, a side of Ava DuVernay rarely, if ever, by the public.
"Just days before I came here," Ibrahim continued, his voice now a quiet, compelling narrative, "a boy in my village clung to my leg. He didn't ask for money or food. He begged me to tell the world they exist. 'Don't forget us,' he said." Ava's hand went to her heart sharply, as if the words had struck her physically, a direct blow to her soul. Several audience members broke down, their sobs echoing in the quiet studio, a testament to the raw, universal plea of the unseen. Even before the interview officially ended, clips of this powerful exchange were spreading like wildfire online. On Twitter, the hashtag #Don'tForgetUs trended within minutes, a global cry for recognition. Viewers worldwide shared their own poignant stories of feeling unseen, ignored, or forgotten. YouTube comments scrolled too fast to read, a torrent of raw emotion filled with messages like, "I'm crying, thank you for this, and this hurts because it's true." The digital world had found its voice, echoing the pain and the hope. Back in the studio, Ava stood, her movement slow and deliberate, and took Ibrahim's hand. "I don't know what to say," she admitted, her voice cracking with emotion. "But I promise I won't forget." Ibrahim smiled warmly, the first full, unburdened smile of the night, radiating a profound peace. "That," he said, his eyes crinkling at the corners, "is all I could ever ask." They embraced again, a silent, powerful acknowledgement of a bond forged in shared vulnerability. In the corner, a seasoned producer, who had never cried on the job, discreetly wiped his eyes. As the show went to commercial, the studio remained hushed, a sacred space. Ava sat back in her chair, staring at the floor, her usual confidence replaced by something raw, exposed, and deeply human. Ibrahim leaned forward slightly, his voice a soft balm. "You carry the world's stories," he said softly, "but you don't have to carry them alone." Ava looked up, her eyes meeting his, a silent question in their depths. "How do you do it?" she whispered. "How do you keep your heart open?" Ibrahim's reply was simple, yet it would become the most quoted line of the night, a beacon for countless souls. "You can't change what you won't let yourself feel." When the cameras returned, millions saw a side of Ava and a side of themselves they hadn't known existed. Ava gathered herself, her voice still shaky but imbued with a new resolve. "Where does this wisdom come from?" she asked, her gaze earnest. "Were you always this way?" Ibrahim's gaze softened, a distant memory clouding his eyes. "I wasn't born wise. I was born in dust." He spoke of his mother, who raised him in a small hut with a leaking roof and empty shelves. "She told me, 'We may have nothing in our hands, but don't let your heart become empty.'" He recalled waking at 5 to find her boiling stones in a pot, a desperate act to quiet his hunger when there was no food. He asked why she didn't cry. She said, "If I cry, who will teach you to hope?" The studio fell silent once more, some audience members weeping openly, their own burdens brought to the surface. Ava covered her mouth, trembling, overwhelmed. "Pain can make you bitter or better," Ibrahim added, his voice firm, a quiet challenge. "But you must choose." The hashtags "Better Not Bitter" and "Don't Forget Us" exploded online, a dual testament to his profound impact. One viewer tweeted, "I've never cried watching an interview. Ibrahim Traoré speaks for everyone who's ever felt invisible." Another wrote, "This man just changed my life." With one sentence, Ava, her eyes glistening, said, "You've given us a gift tonight, Ibrahim." He shook his head gently. "The gift," he replied, "is that you listened." He reached into his jacket, pulling out a folded photograph of his mother holding him as a child. "She'd want me to remind you," he said, placing it on the table, "that no matter how much you carry, you're not alone." Ava held the photo, tears falling freely, and the audience gave another standing ovation, the longest of the night. As the applause quieted, Ava reached under her chair, her hands trembling. "I wasn't going to share this," she said, unfolding a worn letter. "It's from a girl in Selma, Alabama, who wrote to me years ago. She said she wanted to give up because she felt no one cared if she lived." Ava's voice broke as she held up the letter. "Tonight, Ibrahim, you said what I wish I'd told her." Ibrahim took the letter, reading it silently, his expression unreadable. "She's still here," he said with quiet certainty, "because when even one person sees her, she finds the courage to stay." Ava gasped, covering her mouth, a profound realization dawning. A staffer slipped her a note. The girl had just tweeted, "I'm watching this. I'm still here. Thank you." The broadcast, meant to end minutes earlier, kept rolling, held captive by the raw, unfolding humanity. Ava answered a phone call on speaker. A timid voice came through. "Miss DuVernay, is this live?" Ava nodded at Ibrahim. "Yes, sweetheart," she said. The girl sobbed. "I thought no one saw me." Ibrahim's eyes glistened. "You are seen, and you matter more than you know." The girl whispered, "You saved me." Ava broke down, covering her face, overwhelmed by the weight of the moment. Ibrahim rested a hand on her shoulder. "You've been saving lives all along. Tonight just reminded you why." The studio erupted in quiet applause, some standing again, unable to contain their emotion. Ava, through her tears, whispered, "You have the heart of a lion." As the interview finally ended, the audience lingered, unwilling to leave the warmth of what they'd witnessed. Ava hugged Ibrahim. "Goodbye," she said. "I thought I was here to interview you, but you've taught me more in 1 hour than I've learned in years." Ibrahim smiled faintly. "Pain teaches us faster than privilege, but the heart decides what we do with it." Twitter exploded. #Lionheart and I'm Seen trending worldwide. One post read, "If every leader spoke like Ibrahim Traoré, we remember we're human first." Another said, "I've never cried so hard watching TV. Bless Ava for letting this happen." Before leaving, Ibrahim faced the cameras one last time, his gaze direct, his message clear. "See the invisible, hear the voiceless, stand for the forgotten. That's where humanity begins." The broadcast faded, but the world felt the ripple, a profound shift in consciousness. The studio stayed quiet as Ava sat, staring into the distance, processing the seismic impact. Ibrahim stood at the edge of the set, silent, a quiet force. Ava approached him, her makeup streaked, her vulnerability laid bare. "Why did you come here?" she asked. He smiled humbly. "To remind people that being seen is the greatest gift we can give. You see millions, Ava, but who sees you?" Her lips trembled. "Even the strongest are fighting to be heard," he added. "You've taught the world to listen. Now let it listen to you." "I thank you for seeing me," she whispered. They hugged, no cameras capturing it, but millions felt it. The next morning, the world buzzed with humanity. Clips of Ibrahim's words filled screens. Cafes looped the interview. Classrooms discussed seeing the invisible. In Ouagadougou, thousands gathered, holding signs reading, "We are seen," and "Better, not bitter." Children wore T-shirts with Ibrahim's face. In Los Angeles, students painted a mural of Ava holding his mother's photo, captioned, "Hope is a choice." Ava, at home, watched replays, her chest tightening at "See the Invisible." She messaged Ibrahim, "You changed more lives in 1 hour than most do in a lifetime. You changed mine." In Burkina Faso, Ibrahim smiled reading it. By week's end, 120 million had watched the interview, dubbed the year's most moving moment. At a village school, a girl asked Ibrahim, "Why did you make Ava cry?" He crouched, smiling. "Sometimes tears are how hope finds its way back." Ava signed off her next